Live from the heart of America, I'm Steve Gruber, ready to fight for you from the foxhole of freedom. Giving you better analysis and insight than anyone else, shining a spotlight into the darkness of the political media industrial complex. Man, is it ugly in there. How we deliver you the truth. It's relentless pursuit of truth every day, and here are three big things you need to know to start the day. Number one, a bridge collapse in Montana has created a possible environmental crisis for the nation's largest wild river, the Yellowstone, because chemicals from rail cars are leaking. Number two, Sweden, the latest nation to reject the green climate change agenda, citing how unstable wind and solar power is. Yeah, no kidding. The Swedes now focusing their efforts on nuclear energy like other nations, Germany and France. And number three, it really appears that the financial scandals surrounding Joe Biden and Hunter Biden are taking their toll. Major news outlets have been flushed out of the shadows to discuss the scandals that originate with whistleblowers who accuse Hunter Biden and his father, the president of the United States, of receiving massive payments from places like China, Russia, Ukraine, even smaller countries like Romania. And now there are text messages and social media messages that are public, and it really puts the entire administration on the spot. It certainly does. James Rosen put Pentagon spokesman John Kirby on the spot with the WhatsApp quote from Hunter Biden about dirty business deals involving China and Joe Biden released by whistleblowers. And then Kirby, after refusing to answer any questions, flees the podium. Listen to this.
The House Ways and Means Committee yesterday released documents, their authenticity nowhere challenged. That included a July 2017 WhatsApp message sent by Hunter Biden to Henry Zhao, a Chinese Communist Party official, which stated in its entirety, and I quote, "I am sitting here with my father, and we would like to understand why the commitment made has not been fulfilled. Tell the director that I would like to resolve this now before it gets out of hand, and now means tonight. And Z, if I get a call or text from anyone involved in this other than you, Zhang, or the chairman, I will make certain that between the man sitting next to me and every person he knows, and my ability to forever hold a grudge, that you will regret not following my direction. I am sitting here waiting for the call with my father," unquote. So just a couple of questions about this. First, does this not undermine the president's claim during the 2020 campaign and the reaffirmations of that claim by his two press secretaries since then, that he never once discussed his son's overseas business dealings with him?
No, and I'm not going to comment further on this.
We're good.
I'm not. James, let me save you some. Let me save you some breath. If you're going to ask about this, I am not addressing. I know you do more than I'd like you to have. I am not going to address this issue from this podium. I'm just not going to do it.
All right.
I'm not going to do it.
Where was the president on the day that
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Have a great weekend.
The father's house.
Yeah, and he flees the podium. Hey, I'm not answering any of your questions. Oh, and I'm leaving. Even lifelong Democrats are being forced to come to terms with just how corrupt the Biden family is, and reckless, and unable to keep secrets. The mainstream media starts to peel off, and Democrats start to admit there are problems with the Bidens. That also brings up the two-tier justice system in America in the wake of Hunter's sweetheart deal for tax evasion and illegal gun possession. Yeah, it's quite a stew. Congressman Brad Sherman of California actually approached the truth about the Hunter Biden investigation, admitting ordinary folks, well, they probably would have been treated differently. Listen to this.
If the investigation into him, though, if he was given preferential treatment or was slow walk, there was bias, should that be further investigated because of this whistleblower's claims?
We should investigate everything, but it wouldn't surprise me if this tax matter went more slowly than it would for Tom, Dick, Harry, or Mary. Bureaucrats know if you're just auditing someone in my California district, you can just do your job. This is the son of the president. You might take a deep breath. You might dot some I's and cross some T's. It might take you a little longer. And I'm sure that the resources spent on this investigation were greater because they were dealing with something that was so sensitive.
Well, that part I'm not sure of. So sensitive? It was tax evasion. By the way, that's growing, of course. With new accusations from new whistleblowers that $8.3 million was not covered in tax payments by Hunter to the government. I can assure you, if you didn't make tax payments on $8.3 million of income, you'd be in prison. And you know the temperature's getting turned up when KJP is just getting angry. She's defensive with the challenging questions coming from the White House press pool. And unlike the way it was, now the reporters are ganging up and not taking no comment for an answer. No, they want to be heard. Karine Jean-Pierre, of course, not happy to answer those questions about the whistleblower, allegations about Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, and everything else, all being involved in an arm twisting to get payouts from China, among other things. Listen to this back and forth.
Kirby wouldn't answer James's question, though. Are you going to answer the question? I mean, not a reasonable question to ask, whether the President of the United States was involved, as this message seems to suggest, in some sort of a coercive conversation for business dealings by his son. Is that something, if he wasn't, then maybe you should tell us?
So here's the thing, and I appreciate the question. I believe my colleague at the White House Counsel has answered this question already, has dealt with this, has made it very clear. I just don't have anything to share outside of what my colleagues have shared, and so I would refer you to him and the DOJ. Just not going to comment from here. I will. What I can tell you is I know that my colleague has dealt with this. He addressed this at the White House Counsel. I just don't have anything else to share. I just answered the question. I just answered the question.
No, you didn't. Yes or no? Was the president involved in the shakedown attempt?
Stephen, I just answered the question. It's not up to you how I answer the question. I just answered the question by telling you my colleagues at the White House Counsel has dealt with this, and I would refer you to them. Okay.
Yeah, the media finally pressing for answers on the whistleblowers and the financial scandals and everything going on. And it really pushed KJP to the edge. She just doesn't like this, getting pushed and prodded and asked questions. Here's a bit more.
Can you just remind us what your colleague said from the White House Counsel so we have it?
I would refer you to them, and they will share their statement with all of you.
My question is about your statements from that podium. You stated that the president stands by his comment from the 2020 campaign that he never once discussed his son's overseas business dealings with his son. And you stood at that podium and you reaffirmed that. Do you stand by your reaffirmation?
What I will say is nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. And I will leave it there. Anything else, I will refer you to the White House Counsel.
This is not a change?
I just answered the question. You just asked me, does my statement change? I just told you nothing has changed. That's answering the question. Go ahead.
Go ahead. The president was there 2 days
Go ahead,
prior.
Stephen. I'm calling on your colleague right now. Go ahead.
Thank you. To follow up on my colleague, is there anything that you can say with regard to this text message and what the president's son was alleging? Was the president there or not?
I would refer you to my colleagues at the White House Counsel. They have addressed this, and I refer you to them.
Was the president there or not when he sent that WhatsApp message? Well, I'm not going to answer that. Not going to answer that. We've got more of this because it is pretty telling that she won't touch any of this. You just say, no, he wasn't there. Unless, of course, he was. Which, of course, he was. This is a growing scandal, one that might actually finally bring the Biden family to justice. We'll see. Wouldn't count on it quite yet, but it's a good way to start the week. I'll be back. It's the Steve Gruber Show.